Hello everyone, welcome to another of Eugene. This is the second edition of Public Drum Shaming by Eugene. R stands for roasting. Today we're going to be reviewing the second batch of 10 people who have submitted their videos for me to review. Here is the second batch with the timestamps. If you don't have the patience to watch through the whole thing, you can just jump to whenever you're playing. Before we start your reviews, I'm gonna do a review of my own review doing the first batch. So just very quickly, I wanted to apologize for some technical issues that I had last time with my equipment. Everything was lagging. I lost actually a lot of feedback that didn't make it into the final cut because of my audio and video was messing up everything. So I promise that I try my best to improve this time. I'm doing things a bit in a different way, separately recording audio and video, but you don't really care about that. Secondly, I want to also improve my feedback when I'm watching your stuff and actually helping you out a little bit, maybe with stuff that you really care about. So if you ask Eugene, how's my swivel, and I'm telling you, buy some new camera lights, whatever, you probably don't give a fuck about that. So these are important takeaways for myself to improve my feedback, to help you even better. One thing I won't be able to improve is pronouncing your names correctly unless I learn all the languages in the world. So butchering your names continues. So with that being said, I'm taking the Worst Reviewer Award for myself. Thank you very much. I really want to thank you for submitting so many of these reviews. I'm having a blast discovering new talent and watching you guys play. Last time it was absolutely awesome. So for those of you who haven't submitted your videos and you would still like to participate, make sure that you know the rules. Watch the video where I explain how to do that. I see some familiar names in the second batch, but I haven't watched any of these videos, so it's first impression, hopefully. Let's start with our first entry from Seth Flowers.
Just Seth.
Nasty. Shortly before the COVID pandemic, Austin Burkham transcribed a difficult piece by Virgil Donati called Impossible Independence. This is a slightly sloppy attempt. Okay, this is not a cover, this is a pattern exercise. Okay, I already lost it. Papa. Overwhelmed by numbers. Math. Still way too early in the morning for this. Okay, it's not called impossible pattern for nothing. It's impossible to follow. It doesn't seem like it's repeating, actually. Is this it? Why is it difficult? Explaining the science, okay? So this is for the ultra nerds. Let's see what he's trying to explain here. Maybe it's gonna make things clearer. So, the left hand and foot are playing a 7-note pattern repeatedly, never changing. Okay. Ha! Easy. Okay, so it's piece of cake. Okay, and the right hand and foot are playing doubles, triplets, paradiddles, five-a-diddles, five-a-diddle-doos. Too many layers of stuff. I just tried to focus on the ta-dan, tan, tan, ta-dan, tan, ta-dan, tan, tan snare. That's the only thing that I can still follow. And the rest is, look at his face. The level of focus and concentration, it's on a whole new level. Of course, I would be like this for sure. You know my famous Suicide Hot Wing vein on my forehead? It would be popping like crazy.
The vein on my forehead.
What can I say? This was very, very complex. Every time I do some lessons with my students and I'm asking if they know some basic music theory, and then I tell, don't worry, we're not gonna do any rocket science. Okay, so this is rocket science. So this was super cool. Seth, well done. If it took you really 3 months, that's some dedication. That's the good stuff for sure. You know, the bad stuff, this is so complicated for the average listener, and I don't consider myself to be an average listener. Of course, I believe if I would spend a lot of time trying to understand, things would make sense. But I'm not sure if I'll have the patience to do that. So thank you very much for doing this video clip of explaining how it works. This was very nice. Let's move on. Alrighty, so the next entry is from Rahul Singh, name butchered? Maybe? Okay, so it says, drummer gets teleported to Finland after listening to Wolfheart. So let's watch Wolfheart. Shadow Wo. Woof. Cool. Love the triplet thing, speeding up. I dig the energy, the joy. When he said that he was teleported to Finland, actually I find it quite believable. Yes. Molar blast. Hand switching blast. Wow. Saving stamina while switching hands. Cool. Yes. Lyric singing. Best. Pay attention to his molar. When he's doing molar with the right hand and also the left hand, then he's blasting like this. You see that he's basically, even if he's playing 8th notes, like this, his main impulse is on the 4th notes, as the metronome goes. So, that's how he's doing the skank beat. That's why the molar on the hand on the right, and then when he's doing the snare blast, he's also doing the molar because the flow that he creates, the impulse that pushes him to keep up with this tempo comes from the halftime 4th note kind of a motion, okay? So not doing like this all the time, but rather like this and gently molar. Saving energy, great for stamina, great for speed. Nice beater angle, like 90 degrees. He's bashing it. Although this is an electric set, so there's basically no value in the acoustic sound it makes. He's not only imagining himself in Finland, but he's also imagining himself playing an acoustic kit. So every time you do it, try to imagine that you're playing a fully packed stadium with your favorite band. The passion. I like how he's switching the hands, and sometimes he's actually making more space for his snare. So he puts like the left hand on the cymbals on the hi-hat. He's playing open-handed so that he has a bigger motion for the right hand to swing and smash that snare drum. This is actually rather cool, because if you're crossing your hands always like this, you're going to be playing like this, you're very limited. Oh, now we're talking. This is great. Do you see how he's actually molaring the left hand? Both the right hand and the left hand, during a traditional blast, he does a lot of vertical movement. This way you could most likely put a lot of power into your blast so that the snare is loud enough. Spacing issues, the snare goes on the kicks on the traditional blast, no big deal. He's getting quite a shoulder workout like this, by the way. You see? By any chance you forgot to do some side raises in the gym? He's doing that behind the kit. Ah, yes, cymbal chokes. Awesome. This is amazing. Fade out? No, not for him. He's not giving up. This was very cool. Well done. Okay, the good stuff. This was amazing. Great energy, great technique. I loved the passion that you have shown. People should play metal music like this. Even though this was nothing super fast and technical, honestly, I enjoyed it a lot. Just watching him play wants me to get teleported to Finland. Nice molar technique. Nice cymbal chokes, toms, the herta, bleed, kick patterns, that was very cool. You play with a lot of power. The bad stuff, if you're gonna be going for faster tempos, okay, and something more extreme, you need to keep in mind to hold back a little bit more on the power and beater angle. For example, if you're going to be doing fast kicks, you won't be able to hit so hard, you know? So obviously, to a certain extent, you're going to be limited by your physical abilities. And even if you're working out and you're putting a lot of brute force, this is not the way. So you have to relax, you have to go easy. Second thing, the blast beats were great with power, but just make sure that they're clean. So precision and clean blasts are more important than fast blasts. I've talked about in the first batch about cleaning up your blast. having the traditional blast, the snare in between the kicks, okay? This is a tough thing to do. You did pretty great. This was a short blast, so we don't know if you would struggle with a much longer one. Another thing that I've noticed when you're doing a crazy roll on top with your hands and you have the kicks underneath playing, make sure that you have everything precisely tight on the grid, okay? So because there's a lot of mud and chaos that can be caused by these kind of rolls, okay? So it's all like all popcorn. You don't want popcorn in your drum, so just pay attention to those. Otherwise, this was incredibly good. Okay, let's move on. Next entry is by San JV. Butchered.
Fresh meat.
Seems like a live gig. One foot blast. French grip. Great camera angle to see his wrist working on the snare. Ah, 2 foot blast. Got tired. No, the photographer, go away. Check out the wrist movement. He's got a very nice range of the stick height. Hammer blast? Maybe. If yes, then it's good. If it's a traditional, it's not good. I'm focusing on his left hand on the snare all the time. It mesmerizes me. For example, the snare is so powerful on the blast, but when he's doing this with the skank beat, it's like, not because he wants to play the snare quietly, but basically he is physically not able to because the arm is right on top of the other one. So that's why you have the second hi-hat, like Steven Bernstein, and like I do. And so this way you can bang that snare hard. Yes, you see a little bit of this wrist turning thing and a little bit of fingers. He does use fingers for sure. Maybe he got tired so that he's using different muscle groups in order to survive longer. Awesome. Cool. Dave Grohl? Get out of here, Dave Grohl. Alright, so the good stuff. Absolutely awesome snare, blast beat, snare left hand technique, okay? Wrist turning motion, a lot of movement, big range, a little bit of fingers, a little bit of wrist. That was very cool. Overall, the volume and the balance that you had of each stroke on drums like snare, toms was evened out very nicely, okay? So you were not hitting the snare way too hard on like slow breakdowns, whatever. It was all like very, very kind of close to a drum machine, MIDI programmed, all the same velocity. This is great. This is what people need to try to achieve in a live situation who are playing this kind of music. So this was absolutely awesome. The bad stuff, I really cannot say much because I couldn't hear much of, for example, your foot stuff. Cannot say anything bad for your hands. The only thing, once again, as the previous comment, is if you want to push faster, if you want to play longer and faster, you have to eventually hold back a little bit. So you will have to sacrifice a little bit of power. I'm not saying that you're hitting very, very hard, but eventually you'll have to always keep this in mind, okay? So the faster, longer you go, the softer your hits are going to become. It doesn't mean that you're going to be quieter, because if you balance everything out and play quietly all the time, you can be overall louder, okay? Live gig situation, filmed with a phone, whatever. So, of course, it's not easy to make it good. I would recommend you to slap triggers on the kicks, although even you didn't have long, fast patterns, but still even the chit during the traditional blast, if we could hear it with a trigger, would be much better. Make sure you don't give access to the photographer to stand in front of the camera next time. And that's basically it. Once again, I enjoyed the energy and the technique. Everything that I was watching, I was really enjoying it, so it was a great video. Thank you very much. Let's move on. Okay, so our next entry is from Leo. Okay, so let's see. Is it like 240? No, there is no better quality. Electric kit without music, at least easier to spot all the things you want to spot. Okay, finger technique. Wrist on top, fingers below on the snare. Okay, interesting hybrid combination. A lot of people would go for that because the snare drum offers much more rebound than the rebound on the hi-hat. Not really sure about the kicks there. Triplets, 16s, or rather criplets, something in between. getting tired. Speeding up, slowing down. Interesting how he's always like stopping from time to time in the middle of a song, thinking like, ah, no, this was a bad idea. Let's try this, let's try that. Okay. Heart attack jungle toms. Yeah, count in. Count in because the rest of the band couldn't keep up. This was cool. This takes a lot of guts to do because you have to do a lot of this chest bread cutter movement. Doing 2/16 hits per snare tom, like this, it's always a bitch. What is this? Yes, guys, you know this is Inferno / that Italian guy type of drum fills. Oh! Gravity! It's not even his final form. Okay, so the good stuff. Yes, you definitely have the speed. We have seen some, let's say, relatively fast blast, fast kicks. Gravity in the end was pretty impressive. Also, the rolls that I've mentioned. Very nice finger technique. You understand the basics of all these extreme beats. You know what you need to do. Your body is just not there yet. You're just not ready to be very consistent and precise. The bad stuff about your technique. So obviously you need to clean up those things, okay? So everything that I've talked about in the first batch and also today with cleaning up the blast, traditional blast, the kick and snare should not be in unison. Hammer blast, they should be in unison. Rolls, everything, all that stuff. Play to a click track for sure. Metronome, slow down, make sure that you feel comfortable. Precision and tightness over speed. I know it's very exciting to play fast, and of course you learn how to play fast easily, but it's always sloppy when you start, okay? So fast is exciting, but guess what is even more exciting? Fast and precise. But I do believe that you most likely knew about all of these things, what I have pointed out, and what you need to work on. This is him performing LLL by Myth and Royd, and from what I know, that's a band that does songs for Japanese anime. They have a lot of auto-tune on those vocals, and I actually really like their music. I'm just curious to see what it was supposed to be. We're not gonna play this for long because I don't want to get demonetized. Okay, so this is Overlord. Actually, I had no clue how they look like. Obviously, it's a girl singing and some kind of a Limp Bizkit dude on guitar. Yeah, Weeb alert. Okay, let's move on. The next entry is from Soul Whacker. Something tells me that's not your real name. That snare. I don't like the sound of that snare, to be honest. Well, okay, speeding up. It's like a traditional blast, but with fast kicks. I honestly always disliked that blast because for me it creates more chaos than last time. Playing the crash on top with the tip of the stick because you have to save your cymbals. They're expensive. So that was Soul Whacker. The good stuff. Decent speed, nice tight rolls. I'd say nice tight blasts. I wish we could hear the kick more, so I cannot really tell how precise the kicks were, how precise was the traditional or whatever blast you were playing, maybe 16th notes on the kicks. The bad stuff. I would prefer you to try to hit with a little bit more anger and energy when it comes to playing those crashes and hi-hats. I understand maybe you don't want to make noise, but just playing the crashes like this, maybe this was just from the purpose of practice, rehearsing and stuff. Maybe you don't do that when you actually play songs. I don't really know. The snare could be also a little bit better tuned. Try to hit a little bit harder. Don't be afraid to destroy everything. This is what drums should be about, right? If you want to save the cymbals, cool, but the toms can survive a few fatal beatings. Maybe triggers on the kick because there's like too much mud. This is all I can say about this video. Alright, entry number 6 from Arthur Pichou. Well, this was kinda expected. Video is called Practice Session, messing around with various techniques. I like the books, so make sure that you don't neglect your studies. This is some kind of a bedroom, living room video. I'm super happy that we don't get only drum covers and stuff like this. It's all different stuff. Okay, something like American French. Unison. Fingers. Doubles. Very nice. You can barely hear the difference between doubles and singles. Oh, this is awesome. Accents. Okay, yeah, a lot of wrist turning with a little bit of fingers. Speeding up and losing consistency. Going a little bit more in unison. I don't think that was the intention. Oh, yes. Push-pull. Unison finger blast. This is tough. Dynamics. Oh, this is everything. It's encyclopedia of extreme metal drumming rudiments. How long is it? Oh, it's 6 minutes of this. You know, guys, this was an interesting video for a change of pace. So, thank you very much. Well done. The good stuff. Honestly, this guy, when I saw the books on the side, I was like, okay, this guy's a bookworm, and he did prove us right. He demonstrated us basically a lot of different things. So, great technique, both with wrists and fingers, playing separate hands, two hands together, push-pull, double strokes. I was impressed by his double strokes. The bad stuff that I think he could work on. When he was speeding up, he was losing a little bit of this single stroke roll, alternating strokes consistency. It was turning into unison strokes, and that would usually happen. People would say that my left hand cannot keep up, so I'm speeding up, and then it all kind of becomes a unison hammer blast. One way to improve on that is try to always accent the right hand. Even if you're speeding up, you do the accents, even if the movement is just very, very little. Because if you do that, the accents serve as kind of a beacon, guiding light in darkness for the left hand to follow. Okay, so the right one goes and the left hand knows that it's the accents, it's following the accents, and it knows that the left hand has to be right between the right hand. Okay, so right after the accent. This is helping the left hand to stay on the offbeat. Okay, and I'm not saying that you have to accent a right bell or a crash or whatever. Just do a little bit of an extra impulse with the hand. So like, that's why the molar technique is great for fast single stroke rolls, okay? Because with the molar, you have a very distinguished accent for fourth notes or half notes or eighth notes, depending on how do you do it. Group of 2 molar, group of 4 molar, whatever you do, okay? Next entry from David Zimmerman. Some parts of this performance have been modified from the original English to accommodate for the electronic kit used during the video. Aha! Excuses already in the beginning of the video. I'm disappointed. Just kidding. Harry Potter. You can hear Ferro playing the piano there. Okay. Okay, wait a second. This is a traditional blast, and he's playing the snare with his right hand, the cymbal with his left. So he's positioning the snare right between the kicks with his leading hand. We don't know if he's leading with his right hand, but that's what I would assume. What? Very tight kicks. With this orchestra and the fast blasts, guess which band it does remind me of? Yeah, he's leading with his right hand. Crazy. Yeah, you see how he's doing just fourth notes on the skank beat, so it's tuka 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 instead of doing eighth notes, because who needs that? You know, chill. Good, I would do the same. Maybe I would do offbeat, both hands, snare and hi-hat in unison, not like this, but like this. It's a matter of taste, I guess, but some people actually, you know, hate one or the other. This is crazy, and I have to stop him there. So, I have a theory. Either he's playing a hammer blast, and then it was edited so that the snare was shifted between the kicks. It's very, very clean. It's suspiciously clean. Or he is actually that good at positioning the leading hand in a traditional blast on the snare between the kicks. In that case, wow. This is like 280 to 90. I am getting some traumatizing Vietnam betrayal flashbacks. You know what's weird about this drumming? I'll be super honest. Some of the parts sound way too tight, suspiciously tight. The kicks are very good. The traditional blasts are very good. And some parts like the drum rolls, certain weird accents and hits are oddly sloppy. Okay, so it's, I really don't know if he's very crafty at covering his tracks or he like just chose to fix certain things or he didn't fix anything at all. I really don't know. So my point is, I'm not here to call out people and accuse them of something. This is not an interrogation. T-Rex blast. It's crazy. Finito. Dave Grohl again. Dave Grohl, please stop submitting your videos. The good stuff. Insane speed, insane precision. There are a lot of if statements here. Let's say if this was heavily edited, then I'm gonna give you an A+ for editing, because the editing was done actually in a very nice way, that some parts are sloppy-ish, some parts are very, very tight. The extreme stuff is very tight. And I really don't know. Unfortunately, the bad stuff is that maybe you're gonna get some hate from people who are gonna be questioning your talent, okay? If you wanna prove people wrong, you could just play everything on an acoustic kit with camera sound, with microphones or whatever. Acoustic sound lies less than MIDI notes. Unless I see a genuine acoustic sounding drum kit with this tempo, this precision, these techniques, then I'm gonna say I 100% believe it. But if it turns out that he actually puts the right hand between the kicks like that, then well done, honestly. I really like that we had an entry like this. Whatever people say about your video, don't let them ruin your day, okay? You know what you need to work on, just keep working on that stuff. You know, keep pushing yourself to achieve goals, and your ultimate goal could be playing this song on an acoustic kit in a live situation. Something like The Betrayal for me, which is like light years away for now, but you need a reason for the drive. Good. Next entry is from Mikey Dobrzanski. Somebody from Poland, so it's Michał. This is a Cradle of Filth cover. Her Ghost in the Fog. No, Ella. Oh, Fog. He was not lying about the fog. After listening to Cradle of Filth, I was teleported to England where it's foggy. Double strokes on axis and socks. Classic combo. Cool sounding toms. Swinging overhead camera. Disclaimer, this video clip was shot on 70k tons of metal boat. Just joking. Guitars. What's up with those guitars? I believe this is the original song plus extra guitars on top. Maybe it's actually written in the description. Original drums removed. He removed the drums. Rushing a little bit. Terrence is watching. It's old movie effects. The overhead angle is usually good to display your shells and cymbals and to show off, you know, like check out my office, you know, and stuff like this. But for technique, it's probably the worst angle. Nightmare. Well, I recall this song from my like childhood. How old is this song, by the way? Oh, guitar is cutting through. Well, the mix is disturbing with these removed drums. It's like jumping up and down. It's kind of strange. Losing synchronicity. Would be cool to put a blast here. Imagine how much we could improve this song. Yes, double strokes with triplets. Popcorn. Welcome to the cemetery. No, it's interesting. I used to hate Danny Filth's vocals so much when I was a kid. They obviously didn't change, but my perception of his singing did. I find them very unique, to be honest. They stand out a lot and actually kind of wacky, and the more I listen to them now in 2021, the more I actually enjoy them. What can I say? I'm matured. I cannot take this kind of music seriously, to be honest, like most of the black metal stuff. Not all of it though, but most of it. A lot of stuff happening at the same time, together with my mind going insane. Ah, yes. Yes, blast with earthquakes. Somebody has called Casagrande. It's completely off. The ship is sinking, but it's brutal. Cool modifications. I wish there were more of those. I mean brutal modifications. I'm not sure how much the parts were close to the original. Halloween is over, kids. Trick or treat or blast beat. Alright, so the good stuff. Honestly, impressive speed, impressive double strokes. If this was super raw and unedited, it was like going up and down, sloppy in many parts. So I do assume this is very honest and not edited. I wish we could have a bit more of the blast. I approve these kind of ideas because, you know, it shows how much creative you can get with other people's music, putting your own soul and drums into it. The bad stuff. Boat rocking, camera swinging. Maybe that was the intention. I really don't know. Rather put a camera from the side, from the front, whatever. It works much better almost in every possible case. You had a great balance of different patterns in terms of different rolls, different beats, so that was cool. Very important. I would rather suggest you not to remove the drums from the original track. Just use the original song. Make sure that you use a metronome. Even if the song was not recorded to a metronome, you create a click track, you stretch the original track to the click track if it wasn't recorded to a click track, and then you play on top of that to the click track and the song stretch to it. This is something that I actually do all the time because it's much easier and simpler, and then you don't have the problem of desynchronizing with the guitars and stuff like this, okay? Acoustic kit would be nice to hear as well, but I can tell that at least your kicks are pretty solid. A lot of popcorn stuff, but you are trying to play fast beats, very extreme, so, you know, you could slow down and work more on consistency and precision at a little bit slower tempos, but sometimes it's much more fun to just go crazy and sloppy rather than slow and boring, okay? So I do also understand that. Very cool. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Submission number 9. This one is from Sebastian Silenceless. I'm expecting him to make a lot of noise. Cease to exist. Suicide Silence. Ah, Silenceless Suicide Silence. Nice acoustic kit. Whitechapel shorts, cool. TM2. Paiste Alpha Crash. Something you cannot buy these days from Paiste directly because it's a discontinued series, but probably nobody cares. Cool snare sound. You see, very relaxed. Fourth note, chilling on the skank beat. If you close your eyes and you just listen to it and it's and then you would be struggling to do eighth notes. Do you really need that? Is there such a big difference? Honestly, I really dig it. I really prefer it like this. You save energy and then you can push harder on a blast beat, for example. Precise kicks from eighth notes to triplets. Yeah, the 2/2 stuff to work on is spacing the hand kick so that it's not flam, but it sounds like 16th note instead of so otherwise it's cool. Come on. I need some body movement. Put more anger. Solid playing. Nice. These are cool. Oh. Okay, that was a traditional blast. Oh. That was cool. Awesome. This was cool. The good stuff. You have great technique, solid performance, very tight kicks. This was nothing super fast, super extreme, but everything that you played was really nicely performed, okay? So all the hits fell into the right places. That was very cool, in my opinion. You had great sounding kit. The overall mix was nice. precise, nice blast, especially the traditional blast was way too short for me to determine how much would you struggle with the consistency of the left hand between the kicks, as examples that we've already seen in this batch. But what you had to play, you performed great in my opinion, and that's what matters, okay? The bad stuff. I would add a little bit of fire. I do recall, you know, I'm stressing on this kind of a thing because it is a part of your technique, it is a part of your performance. So I'm not talking about gear, cameras, or whatever, but I'm talking about the overall impression I'm getting for your performance as a fellow artist or a listener for the audience, you know. And what I said before is the sometimes is more important than the technique. You have great technique. Now, don't be afraid to work a little bit on the passion and, let's say, the fire. I do recall this is one of my favorite stories when I first rehearsed with Decapitated. I don't remember which song we started with, but after the first song, Vogue stopped me and said, like, Eugene, I know that you got the technique, I know the bands that you played with, I don't care about that. Where's the fire, you know? And then we worked on fire for 5 hours a day for 5 days. So watch a drummer go crazy on stage or rehearsing. We have plenty of examples that we actually even checked during these reviews, and try to, you know, watch him and go for the feeling, you know. Don't be afraid to hold back and put more soul into it. This was the only thing that I think you need to work on in terms of volume, speed, strength, stamina, and all the stuff. Control was good. You just keep working on that as you would usually work on your technique. I don't know what kind of workouts you do, but stuff that I think could be improved is the soul, okay? More cameras, more lights, more production. That's basically it. Honestly, this was very cool, enjoyable to watch. This is the last one, number 10. And this next video was submitted by Juan Manuel Ugas Velasquez, senor. I'm not sure if I pronounced it right. Dream Theater, Pull Me Under. Juan Velasquez. I like the snare sound. Yes. Sebastian Silenceless, if you're still watching, if you didn't turn it off, he works more with his body and face. This is what I want from you in case you care about my advice, okay? I actually feel it here more than I felt it in your song. This is just a comparison. Give me more power here on the snare. You're playing open-handed, you have the luxury to do that. Don't be afraid to bang the snare. That's why we're here, to bang. It seems like he's hitting the snare harder when he's crossing his hands in comparison to when he's playing open-handed, which is a paradox. I'm gonna call it the Velasquez paradox. Oh, 2/2 rolls, something that once again I mentioned in Sebastian's performance. This was very nice and clean. The spacing between hand, foot. This is not easy to do. And this was very nice. Yes. Yeah, this is a little bit harder, okay. Nice. Oh, cool hi-hat. If he was using his foot, not sure, on the upbeat. I love those. It's like doing a cymbal choke with the crash, but with the left foot on the hi-hat instead of you do Oh yeah, double hi-hat. Oh, this is cool. The hi-hat crossing hand for the toms. This is amazing. If you're surprised why I am surprised, I'm not a huge Dream Theater fan, so all of that progressive stuff that I see most of the time is new for me from Dream Theater. So don't let the things fall apart. Ouch. All good. Keep going. Now I recognize this song. I think I heard it many times before, or I just chose to forget. Guitar solo. Nobody asked for. I don't really like the fade-in transition, video transitions like this. Yeah, just a matter of taste. Alright, that's it. So, the good stuff. I think it was executed very nicely and tightly. good technique. You know, this is a relatively simple song in terms of speed. It has a lot of complicated rolls and patterns and beats, of course, so all of that stuff was very nice in my opinion. Yeah, nice solid hits. I liked the snare sound. The kicks were also pretty good. The tom rolls were nice, especially the 2/2 stuff that I mentioned. Very good. Multiple cameras, nice. Yeah, left, front, foot, the bad stuff. So I could suggest you to maybe work a little bit on the audio video quality improvement, but this is like not super important. Regarding your technique, don't be afraid to hit harder, especially the snare and toms. Show them no mercy. Overall, it sounded good. Sometimes you could hear flams of your snare and the snare from the original drum parts on the song. Okay, so this is of course very hard to eliminate, especially if you're playing to the song without a click, and like being precisely dead on their snare is almost always insanely impossible. So what you once again can do is that you put a click onto their song, you stretch it to a grid if it's not recorded to a click, and then you try to play and nail it to the click. And in case you don't, you stretch your own drumming performance to the grid, eliminating those flams. And I'm not saying that everybody should edit their drums. You can keep it as raw as you can, but in case you don't like those flams, they kind of create the feeling that you are being sloppy. Although you are not actually sloppy, it's just that the two snares that we have in the audio don't match, so that's why it's creating an illusion that your performance is bad. Punch harder, both with legs and hands. We are done with batch number 2. Thank you very much to all of you guys who have submitted your videos. If you want to submit your video for a review, make sure that you first watch the video about the rules of submission. Here you can see batch number 3. These are going to be the next 10 entries I'm going to review at some point in the future when I have free time. Thank you very much once again. I had a great time reviewing them, and I really hope that you found some of those tips helpful. Maybe we can help each other grow and become better. Take care, guys, and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Impressed by this precision? Me too. This is all achievable thanks to the Foot Blaster triggers. Make sure that you head to footblaster.com and use the code Eugene in order to get a discount for your next Foot Blaster trigger purchase.
This is crazy, and I have to stop him there. So I have a theory. Either he's playing a hammer blast and then it was edited so that the snare was shifted between the kicks. It's very, very clean. It's suspiciously